Hello and welcome to my Hygge Crow. My name is Christina. I use she, her pronouns, and I am coming to you from Sacramento, California. So today I have a knitting update video for you. I'm going to talk about all of my February knitting. First, I will start with what I'm wearing, and it is the Traveler's Shell by Andrea Mowry. I knit this for the InstaFriends 2020, InstaFriends Cal 2024, and I actually did win the prize for that knit along, which is super exciting. But I had knit the body and had a little mishap with my cat peeing on this while it was blocking, and so I didn't finish the sewing on the pockets because I had to rewash it, and it was a whole thing. And then I got sidetracked, but I have now finally sewn on the pockets. I finished it just a couple days ago and woven in all the ends. So I'm actually getting to wear this instead of it just being something that I finished but wasn't quite ready to wear. And yeah, I'm loving the pockets. They're nice and big. I can't really put my phone in it. I mean, I could. My phone fits, but it's kind of heavy and drags down one side of the sweater. So I have found that with most of my knitted garments, putting a phone in them is possible, but it kind of messes with the look. So one day I'm sure I'll figure out a pattern that is like phone carrying friendly, but I can put, it's nice because since I have a 1-year-old, there's always like little things like socks and shoes and stuff that gets taken off and thrown around, and so now I have big old pockets that I can keep that in. But yes, I'm really excited for this piece moving into the spring because it's really warm, but it's also open and obviously doesn't have any sleeves. So it's, it's like a vest. It'll be warm, but also not like stifling like winter wear for the spring. Okay, so that's what I'm wearing. I do have 4 finished objects from the month of February, which is pretty good for me. And the first one is this Sophie scarf. And this is knit in yarn that Sophie scarf by Petite Knit. When I talk about the Sophie scarf, I'm just like, everyone knows it's Petite Knit, but maybe you don't know. Maybe this is like your first knitting podcast, or you started knitting after all of the craze about the Sophie scarf, though I do feel like it's ongoing. But this is knit in a yarn that I thrifted. The brand was Knit One Crochet 2, and the yarn itself was something creme brulee DK, and now I am forgetting the color, but I think it's discontinued. I don't think this yarn is available anymore, which is often the case for yarn that I thrift. I think it's often stuff that's been in people's stashes for a while. But I have, if you've watched for a long time, you know that in 2023, I knit 2 Sophie scarves. Both of them were pink. And so now I have a little blue one to join the party. This is the smaller size, kind of. I meant to knit the smaller size, and I was knitting, and I actually went like a couple increases past what is called for in the smaller size, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go with it because I had like enough yarn to keep going. And so, yeah, that's what I did. And now I have this little blue Sophie scarf. I haven't worn it much. It's softer now that I've blocked it. As I was making it, I got a little worried that it would be too scratchy for me to wear, but it isn't. Um, but yeah, I just haven't worn it much. I think maybe I just need to look in my wardrobe and figure out what it looks best with, and yeah, just figure out styling, and then go from there. So that is my third Sophie scarf and my first blue Sophie scarf, and I'm a big fan. I do like the smaller size, uh, and I think I'll like it a lot for spring because it's easier to do a tie that's like more like less wrapped up, and a little like more casual. Okay, enough about that. I've knit 3 Sophie scarves in like 13 months. So next I will share my my Farmer's Daughter Fiber Sock Squad February 2024 project. So this was the um, inspiration art for this month, and the artist for this is Jessica Rue Illustrations. Um, I forget what the illustration itself is called, but Farmer Daughter Fibers named this colorway What a Gem. And it's on their Pintler sock base if you're curious. And it was actually 2 50-gram skeins of that yarn into different colors. My air purifier has turned on. Also, I'm sorry about if you're hearing noise. That's Joel power washing our back patio. My parents took Elliot to watch her today, so we're trying to get a lot of stuff done, including lots of yard work, and so apologies if you could hear that. Hopefully it's not too annoying. So it was 50 grams in this yellow color and 50 grams in the purple. So this is citrine and this one is amethyst. And what I did was I knit 2 at a time anchors bonnets. So I like cast on with both skeins and I like knit back and forth, and then when it came time to do the crown decreases, I just rearranged the stitches to like essentially the bonnets were just like sitting like this on the needles. So how you would knit 2 at a time socks, but I just did it for bonnets because I thought if I just knit one in one color, I'm going to lose motivation to knit one in the other color. And yeah, that's just how I am. And so it took me like a little bit of time. I had some regrets when I chose to do 2 bonnets during the shortest month of the year, but I'm so happy that I did it because there are a set of twins that are going to receive these bonnets in the mail, and now that I'm filming this podcast, I'll be able to mail them maybe today or tomorrow. So yeah, they are 3 months old now, and I knit this in the 4-month size. It looks kind of small, but it's got a ton of stretch to it. So it really like stretches around the baby's head, which is great. And I know I said that this was the Anchors bonnet. It is by Petite Knit. Not sure if I mentioned that. And yeah, I do recommend knitting bonnets 2 at a time, even if you just want like 2 different color bonnets for your own baby to go with different outfits. It was a really effective way to get 2 bonnets done. So that is those bonnets. And the last thing, this was kind of my big major project for February, is this Zen Jacket Mini by Nash Knits. And this is for Elliot. I knit the 12 to 18 month size, and this was knit as a test for Nash Knits. Nash of Nash Knits. And it's just this super cool bomber jacket style with a like the collar is knit with one strand of boucle and one strand of brushed alpaca silk. All of the yarns are from Drops. So yeah, it's the alpaca boucle and the brushed alpaca silk for the collar, both in the color light beige. And then for the body, it is Drops Lima in the color just beige. So I will say this was a challenging design. I wasn't expecting it. I saw it and I was like, wow, that is a beautiful finished piece. The details are gorgeous, but I wasn't expecting it to be like such a I think she described it in one of her posts as a labor of love. I think that probably came from what a lot of the testers shared, which was they absolutely loved the piece and such a cool design, but like you had to work to pay attention and understand like exactly how all the finishing happened. So I was sick. We all got norovirus. I'm not sure if I shared that in a previous thing, but we all got norovirus, and then a cold, and then a sinus infection, and then I was well for like a week or two, and now I'm feeling sick again. Gotta love daycare. But I was like pretty sick when I was starting out this knit and just had trouble with the yoke. I ended up missing increases in the raglan, like on like one increase in the raglan twice this happened, and I had to do like knit surgery where I took back like a section of 4 or 5 stitches, and I took them back and like had to insert an increase using the yarn that I had, like, so it was like tight because I was putting in an increase with a length of yarn that it wasn't meant to have an increase. And the second time I did it, I feel like it ended up being really seamless, but the first time I did it, I'm trying to find out, look at where the mistake was. Where was that? Well, I guess it did pretty well, but you can kind of see the mistake here. If you look closely, you can see these like really small stitches. That is where I had some issues with my tensioning, because I had missed the increase in this section, and so I had like was trying to redistribute and ended up being tight, but I figured it was fine since it is covered by the collar. And then when I did it the next time, what I ended up doing was using a smaller needle size to reknit it. So all of the stitches ended up being a little bit smaller than they were originally, but then it was less noticeable because all of the stitches in that section were just slightly smaller instead of like the one at the end being really tight. I don't know if that makes any sense, but anyways, I had to do some surgery on the raglan increases, and then I ended up having to like also rip back the button band twice. This is a double knit button band, which I have not ever seen a design with a double knit button band on a a child's garment. I feel like often a lot of the really nice finishing work that you see in sweaters and garments for adults, people don't really want to bother with it for children's knits, which is too bad because I feel like you're already taking a lot of time to knit a child something. And if it's really, really nice and finished well, then it becomes an heirloom piece where you're gonna pass it down and lots of kids will get use out of it. So yeah, I loved, this was my first ever double knitting that I've ever done actually. And I was worried because I heard lots of negative things like that other podcasters have said, like, oh, they hate doing it and it takes so long. And I actually really enjoyed the process. But I also really enjoy doing an Italian bind off, so that just might be me. But then the bottom edging and the cuff edging was also this really interesting mix of double knitting on either side and then kind of like a garter-ish texture in the middle, and then finished with buttons. The sample from Nash Knits is finished with like these really beautiful metal buttons. I had these ones, they're just plastic, but I had them, they're like vintage from a thrift store, and I just thought they looked really nice with the colors and interesting shape and texture. So that is what I used. The little cuff button is just decorative. It's not, there's not a buttonhole, which, I mean, you don't need a buttonhole on this. You could probably hack the pattern or like make a modification to make that a real buttonhole if that really was something you wanted. But yeah, I am obsessed with this. Like I mentioned, it's the 18 to 24 month size, and Elliot is right now 13 months old, and so it's not something that she'll be wearing right away. But I did have fun and I styled it with a few of the, I'm a major thrifter, so I thrift her clothes in advance. Like when I see something in 18 to 24 months that I like, I buy it. So I already have a lot of clothes for her for that age, and so I had fun styling this jacket with a few different potential outfits, and now I'm really, really excited for next fall and winter when she can wear those outfits. I showed them on my Instagram, but I will put in pictures here as well. But yeah, overall, I would say it's not gonna be a walk in the park, but it's really worth it. And yeah, it's just a total heirloom quality garment that you have in the end. Okay, so those were all my finished objects. Next, I will do some works in progress. My little Sophie scarf here was my car knit. So that's a project that I keep exclusively in my car. I saw someone on Instagram refer to it as an, oh, it was the company Thread and Maple. They referred to that as a emotional support project, which I thought was funny. But yeah, I just keep it in the car to knit on if Joel's driving or if I go to a doctor's appointment and or some sort of appointment and have like, you know, 5-10 free minutes in a waiting room. I will bring that in with me to those appointments. And so I finished my car project and I needed to cast on another one. And so I cast on the Manhattan Hat Bulky by Tori Yu. And this is how far I am. The yarn that I'm using is Brown Sheep Co. in the color Old Sage, and it's it's Lamb's Pride. Yeah, Lamb's Pride, but it says it's spun and dyed by Brown Sheep Co. and Old Sage. And I have 2 balls of this. I'm thinking I might be able to get it done in one ball, but I might need a little bit of a second ball just at the top. And I'm just working from the bottom up, doing ribbing. I'm hoping that it should like do a little test. Yeah, it does fully go over my head. So this is presumably going to be for me. If it doesn't fit, I feel like a hat is great to have for gifting. But I am enjoying this. I've actually had like quite a few doctor's appointments. Like I got my COVID vaccine and had chiropractic stuff. So I've had quite a lot of time in the last couple of weeks to knit on this, which is exciting. So that is one. Oh, I'm holding it in this project bag. This was my first attempt at sewing a project bag, and it's kind of like weird and crooked, but I thought the colors looked really nice together, and it's the perfect size bag to stick in my car door slot. So I'm liking that. And the fabric for this was just like a vintage tablecloth, but I think it's really, really cool. I have a lot more of it, and I'm thinking I'll maybe sew something for Elliot, or maybe I'll make another nicer project bag at some point. So that was actually my only cast on since last month, other than the Anchors bonnets that I knit. I had not cast those on when I filmed my January knitting podcast. So I guess that's technically 3 cast-ons, but yeah. The other thing I'm working on is my Sophie shawl, and this got almost no love this month until the last few days after I had finished my Zen jacket and my Anchors bonnets, and then I was like, let's go on this. It became my work like meetings knit, and I had a long training, so I got a lot done. This stitch marker here, or progress keeper, is where I was when I filmed my January knitting podcast. And so I have done essentially from there to here, mostly in the last week. I am almost all the way through my first ball. Of course, I didn't say anything about this. Is a Sophie shawl by Petite Knit. Wow. And I'm knitting it in Drops Alpaca Boucle in light beige, so the same as the collar on the Zen jacket. And 1 strand of Drops soft tweed in the color marzipan. Over here, I'll show those yarns. Those are the yarns, and they're knitting up into, I thought that the colors would be a little more similar, but it's knitting up into this really cool looking what's the word? Marl effect, with one having all the little fuzzes and one just being more of like a base yarn for the shawl. So yeah, I'm almost finished with my first ball of Drops soft tweed, and I have 3 balls, so this is almost a third done, a little less than a third of the way done. But yeah, it's been absolutely flying now that I don't have a ton of other things on the needles and other priorities, and hoping to get this done this month. That's the goal, is to finish this month, because I do have a lot of other shawl / scarf plans and things that I'm anxious to start working on. I'm hoping to participate in the DRK March to May knit along. I still haven't decided if I'm going to do the night shift or the traveler's shawl, but I do want to do one of those. for that knit along. But I don't want to cast it on until the Sophie shawl is nearing completion. Next up, I have this long-term whip. I was looking and I cast this on like probably like 10 months ago and then put it in hibernation for a while. But I want it. I really want it, but I need to focus some attention on it. It is the Pressed Flowers cardigan by Amy Christoffers, and I put my little progress keeper here. I had done the right front, but I was just starting to work on the left front at the beginning of February, and I finished the left front and started work on the back panel. And once that's done, it will be just the button band and sleeves to go. So yeah, I'm like taking heart in the fact that I've finished this area where the rows are really, really long. And now I'm just gonna have these little sections like the sleeves and the back to knit. This pattern is really, really fun to knit. I don't know why it's kind of been taking me this long. But yeah, other priorities keep popping up. The yarn I'm using this one is Bad Sheep Yarn Company in sport weight in the color Vivant, and this one is Heirloom Homewood Australian Heirloom, something like that. I want to say the color is tan. Anyways, it's discontinued, so you won't be able to find it, but that is what I'm using as the base. And yeah, it's I say this every time, but I love the like low contrast little fabric that it's creating, and it's super fun to work with, and I should work on it more. This right now is my like TV knit, unless I'm feeling like really, really tired and just wanting easy garter stitch, and then I reach for the other one, the Sophie shawl that I just showed you. So that is that. Those are all my works in progress right now. I'm not too overloaded, so that's great. I will be casting on March's bonnet maybe starting next week. Again, I just want to focus on the Sophie shawl and kind of get that completed as soon as I can, so pushing off the bonnet. I will jump into acquisitions since I'm already kind of talking about them. This is the March socks, Farmer's Daughter Fiber Sock Squad colorway. It is called Grandma's Hands, and this was the inspiration. I think it's really, I really liked January. January is probably still my favorite in terms of the color, but I really, really like this colorway too, and I think I like this yarn so far. From what I can tell, I think I really like this yarn. It's like really plump and soft feeling, whereas the January, which was the Bighorn sock, oh yeah, it was Bighorn sock, that one is a little more slick and shiny, which I think looks great, but yeah, just this one's so squishy. I am going to be knitting a lacy bonnet with just the pink, I think. I'm not going to use this really like dark gray blue in it, but with the pink, I think I'm going to knit the Lindern bonnet. Yeah, and I have like 2 potential recipients in mind for that one. I'll have to decide who is gonna get it, but I think it'll be really, really cute once it's knit up in this colorway. Definitely a lot of like tonal variation in this one. I'll give you a little more of a close-up. So yeah, but I think it's light enough that the lace will still look really, really nice. I did get one more yarny acquisition. I did better this month. I did better. I actually knit more skeins than I acquired. So that's good for me. I had a -1 net stash this month. And the reason for that, because I was not intending to buy yarn. This was going to be my only like stash increase. But I, of course, walked into a thrift store and saw this. It's like a full sweater's quantity. I have 7 skeins of this yarn. It is Cascade yarns. It's called The Heathers. I can't even find it in Ravelry. They have a yarn called Heathers or whatever, but The Heathers. I can't even find a reference to it. But each skein was $5, so I spent like less than $40 to get a men's sweater quantity of this yarn. So I feel pretty good about that. It's this cool marl. I'm not sure how it's going to show up in the camera. I honestly can't decide if it's black and brown marl or like a black and a really kind of browny maroon. But yeah, it's definitely black, and then the other color is like somewhere between maroon and brown. I'm sorry if the lighting is absolutely crazy. The sun keeps on going behind clouds. But I grabbed this because I knew if I didn't, I would have regretted it. 7 skeins. This will be a great sweater for Joel. I have one in mind. I'm forgetting the name of it, but I'm not sure if I'll be casting it on soon or if this might be just, you know, one of those nice things to have in my stash, so I know I have a sweater's quantity for him when I'm ready for it. It's 100% Peruvian Highland Merino wool, and it is like, it's not like, oh, like cashmere soft, but it's nice. It's definitely a lot softer than the yarn I used to knit his other sweater, Wash's sweater. So I think he'll appreciate a sweater knit in this. I'm very interested to see how the marled yarn shows up in a fabric. I'm gonna choose a very simple design so that it's not overpowered by that marling effect. The other acquisitions I have are not yarn, but they are yarn related or knitting related. I have been wanting a gauge swat or a gauge ruler for a long time, and I found this one from Sunrise Grove, and I liked the little peony on it, and so I pulled the trigger. I'm not sure. I probably should have gone with one that's a 4 inch, like, so you could get the full thing in one frame, like the 10 centimeters, 4 inches, you know, dealio. But then I was like, that's big, like, where am I gonna put it? But I have this one now, and my idea was that I would like actually check the gauge on my bonnets, since I'm kind of like, I don't know, the baby knits, I don't pay that much attention to gauge unless it's a larger garment. I haven't yet checked the gauge on them. Maybe I will before I send this one away. I already gifted February's or January's bonnet, so oops. But yeah, I have this now, so I can check the gauge on things a little more easily than like trying to use my tape measure to do it. And they were so sweet. Did I say it was from Sunrise Grove on Etsy? I think I did. They were sweet, and they sent a little like thank you thing with these progress keepers that I showed before. So this one is a little mountain, and they're all engraved or etched wood. And then this one is a little peony, which matches um, the gauge ruler. But I thought the peony was super cute on the pressed flowers cardigan. Yeah. Okay. Then my final acquisition, this came in the mail yesterday. I was so excited. And it is the Yarn Tarot. So it is a tarot card deck. I dabble. I'm not an expert, but I dabble in tarot, especially with my friend group from college. So this is the little box that it comes in. I just got it on Amazon. And it's got this little booklet that gives the card meanings. It's hardcover, which is really cool. And then the cards are based on the Rider-Waite deck. So you can see some of the, if you're familiar with tarot, you'll recognize the Fool. What else? We've got the High Priestess. This one's good. Strength, with a like little kitty playing with yarn. And then, yeah, Judgment we have here with all of the people holding up their knitting or their yarn. The pentacles are represented by like weaving on, what's that called? Like a rigid loom? I don't know. I'm not a weaver yet. The wands are crochet. The cups are spinning. We've got all drop spindles, which I think the drop spindles are so cool. If you look at them. Oh, yeah, this one's my favorite. 3 of Cups, or yeah, 3 of Cups, aka spindles. And then the swords are knitting. We got our 9 of Swords here with our sad person wrapped up in their beautiful knit blanket. So yeah, I've just been, oh, look at this. King of Swords knitting a big ol' Afghan or something. I have just been exploring this deck, getting familiar with it. I have a feeling that this will become my main tarot deck. I do have 2 others, but I was like, I don't know why I was on Google, but I Googled something and they served me up this, and I think within like 10 minutes of me knowing it existed, it had been purchased. So, oh, look at this one. 5 of Wands is all these different crochet hooks fighting each other. I'm a little concerned that the makers of this deck don't understand these crafts, because why is it wrapped so many times around the crochet hook? That doesn't make sense. But in general, I think they're really cool. I love the art and am excited to work with this deck. Here's the chariot. It's a little guy on a moped, and then there's like sheep on either side. Anyways, pretty stoked. Let me know if you are also like a knitter or fiber crafter who is into tarot. Did you know about this deck? Are you going to immediately purchase it now that you know about it, like I did? Or yeah, like I'm kind of playing with the idea of doing like a tarot spread as part of my monthly planning or something like that. But yeah, I kind of want to like actually work the tarot into my knitting now that I have this themed deck, as well as just using this deck for, you know, other readings as well. But yeah, let me know what you think about mixing tarot and yarn stuff, yarn crafts. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm saying. That is all I had for this week. I hope that, or this week, I haven't posted in a long time. This is what I was knitting on in February. I talked a little bit about my plans for next month, so stay tuned, and we'll see if I actually do those things or not. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. That's always super helpful. And yeah, I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.